everybody. Welcome to Drinks and a Movie. Chris Hamker here with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we'll be talking about Knives Out, the new Rian Johnson whodunit mystery. But first, let's start with the drink, of course. And the drink I am going to make is an old-fashioned. And the reason I'm making an old-fashioned is because this movie just felt like a nice old-fashioned mystery set all in one location. And it just had that kind of, just kind of feel to it, like a Columbo or a Murder, She Wrote or a Murder on the Orient Express, except it's a murder in a weird mansion. So an old-fashioned is really easy. You start with a half part water, which is already in my glass, my rocks glass, half part water, and then 2.5 parts whiskey, which I'm using Wild Turkey in my awesome Drinks in a Movie decanter. Ding! But before you put the whiskey in, you take a kind of half tiny little spoonful of sugar. I use powdered sugar because it kind of dissolves easily. Put the sugar in, get your muddler going, muddle it in with some bitters, and then you have your old-fashioned. So I'm going to put my sugar in, a couple of dashes of bitters, and then I'm going to muddle it up and then top it off with my whiskey. And while I'm doing that, we can talk about Knives Out. So, Knives Out is written and directed by Rian Johnson, who's done a few things. You probably heard of him. Rian Johnson did a movie called Brick, which is kind of a mystery noir, and he did a movie called Brothers Bloom, which is a sort of con artist movie, which are really good. And then he did this really cool movie called Looper, which is about time travel with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And there's your old-fashioned. Normally, it could have an ice cube, one of those big, like, circular ice cubes, and garnished with an orange peel, but I don't need no orange peel, and neither do you. I mean, you should, because it does look great, but I have my Christmas glass, because 'tis the season to be jolly. Cheers, everybody. Here's to Knives Out, Rian Johnson's new mystery whodunit. Good stuff. What was I saying? So he's done a few movies. Did Brick, Brothers Bloom, Looper, which is time travel, Bruce Willis, and I don't think he's done anything else. Nothing else with the words wars or star in it. Nope. I think that's all he's done. Kidding. But, so this is his new movie. It's totally written and directed by him, and it stars so many amazing people. Least of all, Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Jamie Lee Curtis, Don Johnson. I mean, just, the list just keeps on going. Toni Collette, as this, set of eccentric, members of this family, of which the grandfather, seems to have died, on the evening of his 85th birthday party. And Daniel Craig's character, Benoit Blanc, this amazing southern Louisiana detective, is called in to try to solve the case. And so what's so great about this is you can tell that Rian Johnson just loves this genre so much. This kind of mystery whodunit genre, which kind of has callbacks to, like I said, Murder, She Wrote and Columbo and the Agatha Christie stuff with Poirot, that's been, it has a couple of movies made about it recently. Clue is another one that kind of comes to mind with this, because this movie's very funny, but, this movie takes that kind of genre, not only does it brilliantly, because this whole thing is kind of mapped out very intricately and very purposefully, and a lot of stuff happens. But it also kind of turns the genre on its head a little bit, and where you think it might be going, it doesn't, but then it kind of does, but then loops back around and kind of goes, wait a second, there's more, and it's just brilliantly done, and it's kind of all on the shoulders of a fairly newcomer, Ana de Armas. She was most recently in like Blade Runner 2049, and she's just so good and so sweet and so just kind of a loving point of view character for all these other kind of strange and almost despicable members of this family that are all suspects in this kind of crazy madcap Clue-like situation where, you know, we're trying to figure out, you know, who killed Grandpa. And I gotta say, this movie just, like I said, it's funny. There's a lot of like, there's a lot of pop culture references, but nothing that is too. It's almost kind of in the background that this happens. And if you weren't paying attention quite a bit, you'll miss it. The way the story plays out is, like I said, very unexpected. It almost goes from a whodunit to a how are they going to get away with it, back to wait, who really did it, and is this the way we're supposed to, you know, believe this is happening? And, you know, it turns out, yes, we're supposed to believe it, but just go along for the ride. A couple other things they do that I loved was, when each character is telling the story to the detectives and detective and the police, they show shots from their point of view. So each shot is kind of a little different because everybody, you know, sees what's going on themselves a little bit different. And that's always a lot of fun to me. And the last thing I'll say about it is that this, sometimes a little bluntly, and very not too subtly, has very strong, underlying themes of like class and wealth versus, you know, the haves versus the not haves, and this kind of, you know, despicable people versus, you know, good versus bad, but just being a good person is kind of, you know, this underlying message of that's just really all you have to do. There is a little bit of political stuff, but what I loved about the political stuff is that they don't focus on conservative or liberal. Both of them are pretty awful in this. Like I said, except for the main character, played by Ana de Armas. They don't say just conservatives are bad people or liberals are bad people. They're both kind of stuck in this sort of, if you've been given everything your whole life, you can end up being kind of an asshole. And it just has this kind of great arc of that sort of social commentary there. I completely love this movie. I totally recommend everybody go see it. It's and its original piece of filmmaking. It's not based off of like a comic book, off of a book, off of, you know, a remake, a retelling, a reboot, whatever. That's one of the things I want to, you know, very much stress is it's original and it's fun, it's funny, and it's just a delight from start to finish. It's one of those things where I didn't want it to end. So please go see it. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I'm going to try to make these as regular as I can, you know, coming back and doing these videos for everyone. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.